There is a particular kind of loneliness that doesn't announce itself loudly. It doesn't show up when you're sitting alone in a quiet room, but it does show up in a crowded space, surrounded by people, smiling, and still feeling like no one really sees you. That's how I felt in high school. I had a lot of classmates, but few deep connections. I spent a lot of time surrounded by people, but still feeling pretty alone. And if you've ever felt that, this episode is for you. And I want to ask you, what if the loneliness that you've been feeling isn't a flaw in you, but a signal from your soul? What I want you to know before we go any further is that what you're feeling isn't weakness. It isn't something that's broken inside of you. It's actually your soul sending you a message, reminding you that we were created for depth, for closeness, for real soul level connection. And today, we're going to talk about why connection isn't just good for the heart, it's essential for your healing. And more importantly, we're going to explore what it looks like to find your way back to the people who are meant to walk this road with you, and back to the most important relationship you will ever have, the one with yourself. I am so glad that you're here. Let's go deeper together. Welcome to Jotindi, Journey to the Inner Divine, a sacred space for healing energy, emotional release, and soulful transformation. If you're ready to live with joy, ease, and purpose, you're in the right place. Before we dive in, I just want you to take one more breath with me because what we're going to talk about changed the way that I see everything. And I have a feeling it's going to do the same for you. Let's start at the very beginning with something the science is finally catching up to, but that your soul has known all along. Human connection is sacred, it's necessary, it is essential to your survival. And I don't mean that poetically, I mean that literally. We all understand on some level that isolation is harmful. We see it in the stories that we tell, the villain in every movie who lives alone in the shadows, the abuse victim who is slowly, deliberately cut off from everyone who loves them, or the child who grows up moving from home to home, never quite belonging anywhere. We recognize the damage in those stories because somewhere deep inside of us, we know the truth that isolation wounds us. And it doesn't just wound us emotionally or mentally, it actually wounds us on a cellular level. Research has found that chronic loneliness can be just as damaging to our physical health as some of the most harmful lifestyle choices a person can make, comparable to long term smoking or struggling with alcoholism. Let that sink in for a moment. Our bodies are not designed to be alone. They are literally, biologically wired for closeness. And without it, we don't just feel worse, we actually become less well. And here's a story that I think really brings this idea home. Scientists followed 86 women that were diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, meaning that the cancer had already spread to other parts of their bodies. One group received standard medical care, and the other group received the same standard medical care plus something else, a weekly support group and guided self hypnosis for pain management. So, just connection, just community, just the experience of being held and witnessed by other women walking the same road. The women in the support group lived twice as long. Not a little bit longer, not marginally better outcomes, twice as long, in cases where medicine had already reached its limits. And I'm sorry, but I refuse to call that a coincidence. That is the universe showing us, in one of the most undeniable ways possible, that love and community are not soft extras. They are medicine. And society today, especially here in the United States, glorifies independence, celebrates individualism, and somewhere along the way, that beautiful value of self sufficiency quietly became a lie. the lie that we are separate beings simply sharing the same space. But that has never been the truth of who we are. We are connected beings who forgot that we're connected. What affects one of us ripples out to many. The energy that we carry is felt by the people around us. We share a life force that runs through every living thing. We were never separate. We just forgot. And part of what we forgot is so simple that it almost hurts to say it out loud. We forgot that laughing at a screen is not the same as laughing with a friend across the dinner table. We forgot what it feels like to actually be with someone. We are the most digitally connected generation in human history, and we are one of the loneliest. Because a highlight reel is not a substitution for real human connection. An emoji doesn't land the same as a hug, and a phone call, as beautiful as it can be, cannot replicate what happens in your nervous system when someone who loves you holds your hand. Posting for the world to see is not the same as truly being seen. It might look like connection. It might feel like connection for a moment, but it leaves us hungry in a way that we can't quite name. Because when we are truly seen, all of us, not just the polished parts, something magic happens. We feel accepted. We feel loved. We feel like we matter, not because of what we've accomplished or how we look, but simply because of who we are. Our souls need a witness, not an audience, a witness. And when all we experience are surface level interactions, likes and comments and polite small talk, we find ourselves in one of the most disorienting kinds of pain there is, surrounded by people and completely alone at the same time. And I've been noticing something lately that really breaks my heart. There are so many people talking about anhedonia, that flatness, the inability to feel joy or excitement, almost like it's become a personality trait or something to relate to each other over. But I want to offer a different perspective. That high functioning depression, that quiet numbness that so many of us are walking around with, I believe that a huge part of it is unacknowledged loneliness. It's the grief of a soul that is starving for real connection in a world that keeps handing us substitutes. And we have been so thoroughly conditioned to believe that we don't need each other, that needing people is a weakness, that we can't even recognize the wound that we're carrying. We are starving for true connection, but we've been conditioned to believe that we don't need it. And so we're left with this unresolved grief over an issue that we can't even recognize we have. And we call it anhedonia instead of what it really is, a deep human longing to be known and to be loved. Some of us feel that pull and try to answer it. We join book clubs or we search for our tribe. We sign up for the thing, hoping that it will be the thing. And sometimes what we find is more of a title than a true pathway to connection. A group that we belong to on paper, but we don't quite belong to in our hearts. And after enough of those experiences, I think a lot of us quietly decide it's safer just to not try. That real connection is for other people, that we're too much, or we're not enough, or it's just too late for us. But I need you to hear me on this. That fear, as understandable as it is costing you something irreplaceable. Breaking through it isn't just good for your happiness, it's imperative for your healing. So, how do we even begin to fix this? First, there's acknowledgement. You have to admit to yourself that you have a desire for deeper connection. And then you have to make a commitment to yourself that you're going to work on it and work on it in a way that you would work on a new hobby with effort and excitement. So, first, you're going to just start where you are. Who do you already know? And how can you better connect with the people who are already in your life? When you're at home, can you focus on presence over productivity? Maybe at your family dinner, there's no phones allowed. Spend some quality time forging deeper connections with the people who you're already close to. And what about your friends? Maybe there's someone that you haven't spoken to for a while, and now it's been so long that you're nervous to reach out because you feel like you'll have to explain where you've been. Well, take a deep breath, tap into your courage, and make that call because maybe they've been going through something too, and that check in is a welcome connection. What about spiritual events or meetings? Do you go to church? If you do go to church or to any other gatherings like that, those are great places to make connections. Just find someone who feels safe and go say hi. Is there anybody at work that you can connect with? If it's appropriate, maybe get together outside of the office. That could open the door to a really good friendship. And don't forget the connection to yourself. Spend some time really getting to know yourself honestly. Journal or meditate or go for a walk and ask yourself questions. Allow the true answers to rise up within you. So many of us are terrified to be alone, scared to honestly acknowledge our feelings. And making friends with yourself can be utterly freeing and be the beginning of the most beautiful relationship you'll ever have. So, as you are pondering these options, I want you to keep in mind that each connection fills a different role in your life. And when we are intentionally working to improve something, it's important to be mindful of your progress. I recently read an article in the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine, and they actually wrote a prescription for connection. They use the acronym FITT. And in this article, they said this will help guide the creation of connection prescriptions. The F stands for frequency, right? Or the quantity of social interactions. Are they daily, weekly, or monthly? The I is intensity or the quality of your social interactions. Are these close ties? Are these new connections, family interactions, friends that are positive influences or negative influences? And are the conversations deep or are they superficial? Is there a shared activity? Is there a feeling of closeness or connection, right? The first T stands for time or the duration of this interaction. Are these taking 5 minutes or an hour, or are you spending 6 hours together? And finally, what is the type of the interaction? Are these volunteer experiences with strangers each week, or are these family gatherings? Are they get togethers with friends, or group meetings, or religious services, or even a group exercise class? And using these metrics, you can work toward a balanced level of connection that works best for you. So, that fit prescription, if it sounds more like work than fun, that's okay. You don't need to write down and track every little step of the journey here. Just be mindful of the type of interactions you're having and the depth of them. And maybe this week you could start small. Maybe aim for one thing, like reach out to a person just to say, I'm thinking of you, or put your phone away during one meal, or one conversation, or even one moment. Or begin within. Spend 5 quiet minutes each morning reconnecting to your own inner voice before the world gets loud. So, everything I've shared with you so far lives at the heart of something that I have created because I believe so deeply that healing begins when we stop outsourcing our wholeness and start remembering what already lives inside us. And that's why I created the Oracle Within, a 5 day journey of reconnecting and remembering. And I want to be really clear with you about what this is and what it isn't. This is not another program that's going to hand you a list of things that you're doing wrong and tell you how to fix yourself. Okay. You're not broken. You never were broken. What this is a homecoming. The Oracle Within is a safe, sacred space where you get to come back to yourself, where you get to exhale, where the noise of the world quiets down long enough for you to finally hear the voice that has been trying to reach you, your own. Because here's what I know to be true: Before any of our relationships can deepen, before we can truly receive the connection that we are so hungry for, we have to reconnect to the most important person first, and that is ourselves. The version of us that existed before the trauma, before the conditioning, before the world told us who we had to be, and we slowly, quietly began to believe it. And you don't have to find her from scratch, okay? She never left you. She's just been waiting. This is also an intimate, shared experience, a small, intentional gathering of women who are walking the same path you are, women who speak your language, women who are done with surface level interactions and they're ready to go deeper. The connections that you form inside this container, they're the kind that will last because they're built on truth. Over the course of 5 days, we are going to move through something really beautiful, and it is so intentional. Each day is centered around one of your senses because your senses are your most direct pathway to the present moment, right? To your body and to the messages that the universe is always sending you. We begin with your breath, with grounding, with gentle movement, because before you can receive anything, your body needs to feel safe. And so we start there. We come back into the body. We remember that this body of yours is not something to push through, it's something to come home to. From there, we move into sound. We open the channel of hearing, not just with our ears, but with our whole being, learning to recognize the subtle ways that your guides and the universe whisper to you every single day. Then we develop your sight, and not just what your eyes see, but how you see. We work with you on shifting the lens through which you view your life, your story, yourself. Because when you can see clearly, your own personal truth becomes impossible to deny. And then we learn the language of symbols because the universe is always communicating with you, always. This week, you will begin to understand what it has been trying to tell you. And by the time we reach day 5, something will have shifted. I've watched it happen again and again. Women walk into experiences like this feeling disconnected and foggy and a little bit lost. And they walk out with this quiet, unshakable sense of, I remember who I am. You will leave feeling renewed and reconnected to the universe and to a community of extraordinary women. And most importantly, to yourself. You will leave with a confidence in your own ability to see, hear, and feel the guidance that is available to you every single day of your life. And not because I gave you something new, but because I helped you remember what was always yours. All of the magic, all of the wonder, all of the wisdom. It was never lost. It was just waiting for you to come back to it. This isn't just a program, it's an invitation, it's a portal. And if something stirred in you while you were listening to this, if something got a little quieter or a little louder, or something in your chest just said, yes, that wasn't random. That was your oracle. And she knows that this is for you. And the best part, this is my gift to you. The only investment required is your time and your energy. We will begin April 28th. So make sure that you sign up now so you don't miss anything. There's a link in the show notes, or you can go to mariaharoura.com/oracle. Now, I asked you at the beginning of today's episode, what if the loneliness you've been feeling isn't a flaw, but a signal from your soul? I hope that today gave you your answer. I hope that you discovered that you were never meant to walk this path alone. And I hope that you've discovered exciting new options available to you to help you deepen your connection to both yourself and to others. And of course, I would love to connect with you. I have my private Facebook group, and the link for that is in the show notes. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle's the Mariah Aurora. And I'm on Facebook and YouTube and Blue Sky. So please, wherever you are, reach out and connect. And also, share this episode with someone. It's a great icebreaker. You can use it to strike up a conversation, or You never know when someone really needs to feel like somebody is thinking of them. You could send them that message. So I'll see you next week. And don't forget, there is no path to happiness. Happiness is the path.